Welcome to the Stiffs podcast with me, Sam Mason, and my ex-teammates Dave Edwards and Gav Cowan. Enjoy. Right, welcome everybody. Episode 2, Series 3. Had some nice feedback from the first podcast, lads. A lot of people on their way on their holidays listening to it on the plane. One of my mates just flown out to Spain, downloaded the podcast to listen to. Said that would make the journey fly by.
Decent, same. Had loads of good feedback.
Where do you think most people listen to our podcast?
In the car, I reckon. Commute.
Go on. What do you think, Gav?
On the sofa in their pants.
I think running, isn't it?
Running's a good one. Yeah, get that a lot. Yeah.
That's what I get most feedback about running.
Yeah.
We should try and get some statistics on it, shouldn't we? Be interesting.
You in charge of that?
we'll give that job away.
We've just been saying how poor we are in areas of like social media and YouTube and stuff like that.
Well, we're going to have a big push on that. I'll mention that at the end about YouTube. Have a big push on it because we need some more subscribers. So we're back in the Stiffs HQ. Gav's Summer House. We went for a bit of a social, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago after the crossbar evening, and we came back here. Anybody was calling it the Summer House. I thought that was belittling to the venue.
That. Yeah.
I was like, it's not the Summer House, it's in the Stiffs headquarters.
ITS HQ.
Yeah,
definitely. That's what it's built for, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the only reason.
I didn't like it, but we can't exactly say where we are, can we? Because we don't want like loads of groupies and things hanging around outside doing fans.
Don't we?
We're in Telford, though, aren't we? We're in Telford.
Yeah.
Dave won't drive a Tesla over to Telford because he said it's too rough.
We have to pick him up on the horseshoes.
Right, anyway, so Dave, how's your mum enjoyed the podcast? First episode?
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Enjoyed it?
Yeah, she was away actually on holiday and she listened to it over there, yeah.
What about the feedback from the wives? Are your wives quite good?
Holly hasn't listened to it yet. What? The first one. Nah. Oh. She ain't doing anything, so I don't know why.
No, Emma listened to it, yeah. So she went away with my mum on holiday and they said they were listening to it on the plane on the way back. Right. So, yeah, good feedback.
Feedback from Emma, she liked it?
Yeah.
Have you two listened to it? I haven't listened to it yet, the first one.
Yeah.
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
Are we leaving it then?
I was in it.
I was in it. The Cowans not bothering?
I was here.
Yeah, but you can't always remember what you said, can you?
No, it's poor from me. But what do you think? What do you think? Were you happy with it?
Holly said, I've got to stop trying to be funny all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, obviously I think I'm funny, but Holly's like, you're not.
I've been telling you that for years.
She said, Sam, what you started doing again, interrupting people. So I said I'll try not to do that.
I don't believe
it. A bit of a break, old habits.
Yeah, I said. Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. Glass houses and all that.
I've fallen back into my old ways, but anyway, never mind. Apologies about that. Right, pre-season. I thought we'd talk a little bit about pre-season now because Gavin, you've just took your team away to the Isle of Man, haven't you, for a few days?
Yeah.
So we've all been on pre-season tours. Like I've done Denmark, Spain, Ireland, various bits. And I think back in a few years ago, I couldn't really differentiate between pre-season and post-season because we used to end up having a few nights out and stuff. But talk to me about the aims of that and what's the idea behind you going Isle of Man with your team for 3 days, Gav?
For me, I think everybody will have a different reason, but for me, I retained probably about 8 or 9 of the group. Everyone was out of contract, but I retained 8 or 9 and then brought another 8 or 9 into the group. So we've got 18, 19. For me, I just think what you can do in 3 days around bonding and camaraderie, can't do in 3 months if you were just to be here and go through your normal training regime. So like for us, the purpose was definitely go out there and do some conditioning. So we went on the Friday via ferry. We trained when we got there on the Friday, had a meal Friday night. Players had a curfew, which amazingly they stuck to, credit to them.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, yeah.
Out the fire exits, 100%.
Well, you always and listen, you have to trust your players, don't you? So
you mean like the manager used to trust you?
No, definitely not. And I sort of said that to him, but they at 12 o'clock, we'd had to walk down and just had a look in a couple of the bars, and a few of them were in there, and it was fine, and they were all good. And then they all sort of made their way back, which was fine. We stayed out a little bit later, the staff. But yeah, I suppose you find out Saturday morning. I think the best thing about my group is, and which is good about any group, what they will do is like when it's time to have fun and obviously bond and stuff like that, they will do it and with bells on. But also when it's time to work, they'll do that as well. And we found that. So the Saturday morning we trained, brilliant facility, private schools, really good. Then we took them off, got them back, got them into the sea at the Isle of Man again. Recovery, it was labelled, but obviously it was interesting to see some of the lads getting in the cold sea. Then they had a bit of downtime and we had the game in the evening, and then they had a bit of a night out between themselves on the Saturday, and then we came back Sunday evening. So again, we had breakfast together. So there was a lot of like team bonding there, a lot of camaraderie, but we got the conditioning in, a lot of lads got minutes in their legs. So it literally couldn't have gone any better for me, and everybody came.
Was that organised before you got the manager job? Was that something that you went to the chairman and said, I want to do this?
Yeah, it was amazing, really, because I went to the club. It's nothing they've done before, and I just felt as though, look, if you're bringing in a group of players that don't know each other, it was imperative to, your preparation for the season. So, yeah, it hadn't been done before. They were really on board with it, wanting to support me in that, and the players, took it really seriously.
Obviously, it's completely different from when we went away on pre-season because you're part-time.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lads have day jobs. Was that an issue for anyone?
This is why I arranged it really early, just to give them notice. And again, with us, we understand that some of the lads have got jobs, but they also have an expectation of being in and around the football club. They get paid relatively well, and they know they've got a commitment to the club. So if we give them enough notice, they know that they need to be a part of it. And again, it's their investment as well because they want to be in a team. So I get to see the commitment from the players. And honestly, their behaviour, the way they conducted themselves, the way they could flip between, having fun and working hard was really commendable to them. And what we've got out of it, I think, and this was the feedback I get from the players and the feeling around the place, is it's just been massive for us.
I think a lot of people go on pre-season tours now, don't they? A lot of it's marketing, isn't it, for the big teams?
Yeah.
It's more important maybe for non-league team to go to part-time team.
Yeah, that's why I said at the top of it.
It's brilliant, yeah.
That's why I said at the top of it. The purpose is different for everyone. Ours was nothing to do with marketing. Although funny enough, I did ask our social media guy to come out because I wanted to document it because the club haven't ever done anything like that. I think it's brilliant. What will be coming out soon is we've got a whole loads of video footage and images in like one big collective video.
All or nothing.
Yeah, sort of that type of thing, just for but very, very much shorter. Just for the supporters to see it because only some of them could come over. But then equally, the people at the club who have backed it, great memories and great to see that, what their money's going towards. So it was a brilliant exercise for us, massive.
So obviously, Dave, you've been sort of in the new era, but when you were younger, it was like a bit different time. So you must see a massive difference in pre-season how the lads come back.
What shape they're in? Yeah, 100%. 100%. I remember when you first started, the first couple of weeks to get yourself back into shape.
Pre-season would just be, wouldn't it? Basically, you get a bin liner on, and you're just sweating off summer on.
Even I used to do that when I first started in the off season. I'd run doing that. I don't know. There's no science really behind that, is there? I don't think, or too much. But I used to be all the time bin liners around Ponsbury Hill and trying to.
I think it was sweating. I used to think it was sweating it out. And I remember we had Jim Barron. We were at Northampton, and he was like, no water, don't drink water. So we'd be like training pre-season. Don't touch the water. Yeah, water's for the weak. And it'd be like, you have like dry lips and everything, running like 5 miles.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there wasn't any science behind it. I think nowadays pre-season is different, isn't it? Yeah. It's a different aim for pre-season, I think. Whereas it used to be like we wouldn't touch a ball. Suddenly, I remember on the sand dunes, and we just wouldn't touch a football. But now it's straight into tactics, aren't they? And like, you'll probably be working on shape and things.
Well, when I finished at Solihull, it was definitely creeping in. You're coming back knowing that you've got to hit the ground running. But my lads, when they come back, I mean, we did like obviously the usual testing. We did the fat testing, and we did the weights, and obviously that did the watt bikes that do all their power. So all that's recorded, and then we do it at a later date. I'm very invested in fartlek training as well. So I'm really big on working with the ball. I think that's important. I think that's like new age football, isn't it? But I do still believe that you're without the football for 87 minutes, so you do need to do your work. And I think part-time, psychologically, the lads need to, even if it's like 3 sets of 4 minutes, we do a lot of that. So my lads came back in impeccable shape, which was brilliant for me because it probably saved me 10 to 14 days. Yeah. So the plan just changed. Like we had obviously one for if they didn't and one if they did, but it's probably given us another 10 to 14 days of extra planning, educating on how we want to play. So
that's massive. So from a player's point of view, you come back and you just don't want to be behind. So you being in shape at the end of the season, it's more about just kind of resting your legs a little bit. You don't let yourself go at all, really. You might have a few days on holiday where you drink and eat what you want, but you're still in the back of your mind keeping yourself ticking over. Then obviously from the manager's point of view, say having the lads come back in ready, meaning you can have 6 weeks just working on strategy, shape, all that stuff is massive. But it's more of an embarrassment, I think, now as a player. If I come back and it didn't really happen, but I always had that embarrassment. If I was going to go back and I wasn't in shape, it's not like it used to be where he's Jack the lad, he's put on a couple of stone and we're going to run off first 2 weeks of just running. Yeah. Even I've said it before on the podcast about when I was younger, if you're eating salads and stuff like that, you're going to get ridiculed for that. Whereas now it's the complete opposite. If you're the one eating chocolate and doing all that, then you're getting ridiculed a little bit. So it's changed completely. But there's no way at all now, professional footballer, at sort of any level now, can go back in out of shape because straight away the manager will disregard you. As you said, You talk about your players being committed. That shows the player's not committed, doesn't it? Straight away, they're not looking after themselves. So, yeah, you can't afford to do it.
And as well, like all players are different. Like we have got 2 players that have come a little bit, out of what you'd want them to be, but it's their natural state of body. So we understand that. They could have done absolutely everything to come back.
Built differently,
these are 2 lads that when they start getting into the games, and obviously, we're monitoring them, but they're already getting towards where they need to be. And we're now, I think we just said, I'm 12 days away from the season, and I always talk about getting the work in your legs, staying healthy. That's the first sort of few games. Then you start building on the education, and then the competitiveness comes in. Really, we were able to get our competitiveness in around the Burton game, which was last week, which ordinarily that would probably happen tomorrow night, which is our penultimate game before the season starts. So we're a good 10, 14 days ahead of where I thought we were going to be, so I'm happy with that.
Did I read somewhere a few of the teams came back ridiculously early, didn't they? Like Premier League teams.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think, again, this will become the norm, I think. You see the logic behind it, makes sense. Burnley came back in after like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They had 10 days or so in. I don't remember the exact numbers. Did a bit of training to keep ticking over, and then they went away again, had another couple of weeks break, and then back in for pre-season, which makes a lot of sense. You look at the NFL, for instance, they have a huge break, don't they? So anyone who doesn't watch NFL, their seasons run from September to the end of December, and then if you're in the playoffs, it goes to the start of February. So you have a good sort of 8 months off there, but then they have mini camps. They have mini camps all the way through though. So they might have a month off, then they're in for a couple of weeks, another month off in for a couple of weeks. So I think in our football, I think that will become more of the norm. Even though we've got a shorter gap, I can see us having a couple of weeks off, then in for a week, and then have another couple of weeks off.
It's sensible though, isn't it, not to have too big a gap? Even in schools, like you have a 6-week summer break. I mean, that is crazy. With knowing how everybody learns, to have a 6-week summer break. I think it was something to do with, from years ago, something to do with farming or something like that, like with the seasons. Okay. But how ridiculous. Obviously, try changing that though with the teachers. But you should 6 weeks is a ridiculous amount of time, isn't it, just to have off? So I think football will be more that, 2 weeks.
And they split it a lot, don't they, at the top end? They'll have lads who have obviously done a lot of international stuff, lads who have got to the Champions League final, so they'll split it. But it's hard to manage that, isn't it? I suppose, like in-house, when you've got different lads coming in and obviously different programmes that they've got to be on.
Yeah. That's a strange scenario. I think if you're at the very, very top, it's a little bit different. So say if you're a Jack Grealish coming back and you could be given an extra couple of weeks because you've been playing with England. But for me, I remember when I had internationals and I got an extra couple of weeks off. I think even after the Euros, I had 3 weeks extra off than the rest of the lads. But in my head, I'm thinking, I want to start first game of the season. I cannot be 3 weeks behind the lads. So I remember coming in early on that. And I remember Kenny Jackett was manager at the time. And he was like, no, take your time. And I was like, no, I want to come in. Just because I was more worried about losing my place.
Yeah,
whereas all the other
in
lads,
your head, though, you probably are.
So I'm thinking other midfielders are there training, they're impressing them. And I'm here on holiday.
That's interesting.
You're feeling bad. You see all the lads all running around training, getting the balls out, and you're sat there having a San Miguel, suddenly thinking, hold on a minute, I'm falling way behind.
Yeah. That's it. I remember speaking to Joe as well, like quite some time ago, and he was saying that Joe Hart, and he was saying about he got 2 weeks. He said, I got 2 weeks this year, and then I'm back at it. And I think that's when he was involved in the England setup. So.
Yeah, it'd be normal, yeah.
I mean, I suppose you're being paid astronomical amounts, but I do also think, you are human, and there's that physical element. Are you able to
keep up with that?
That's why people do retire from internationals. You'd think that everyone would want to play internationals for as long as they possibly could, but those windows, especially Premier League level, they'll get time off in those windows. If you're not playing international football, you'll get 4 weeks of the year during the season where you'll get time off.
You can see your body probably needs it as you get older.
That's why I retired. I retired from international duty before we got started, just because I knew I needed to bit my peak.
Put yourself under pressure.
I thought
that. I was like, why is he not getting picked more for England? Do they still do what used to happen when we were younger? Where you used to get like the young and pretty, you used to get the young lads to like wear the boots in and that. Anybody do that? Can you not remember that?
I remember Lower used to get the young lads used to be buzzing because they would get Luke's boots, Ryan.
Yeah, but if you're a size 9 and the pro comes up to you and says, "Here, wear these size 7s."
So just to say for the listeners, so it'd be like, because obviously when you get new boots, it would often give you blisters, wouldn't it? Especially when they were like harder boots back then, harder leather. So you'd get the young lads, you'd get the younger lads to wear your boots in for you to soften the leather. So like basically you let the young lads take the blisters so you don't soften your boots up. So we used to have it at Sunderland. They'd come in like, I don't know, someone like David Kelly would come in, he'd be like, "Hello, peasants." Like obviously he says that's where you speak when you say, "Who's a size 8?" And someone would go like, "Sam." And he'd go, "Right, can you wear my boots in for like training? So you'd put on these boots, wouldn't you? Like wreck your feet, and then they'd be fine. Then you got ready for you. Yeah, now you've got blisters,
and then you'd have to wear your own boots in as well after that. When you give them back, you're like,
you have to do that first game of the season. You're wearing your own boots.
Oh,
in
it was
like
horrible.
And however much training you did, first game of the season was always boiling hot, and you were always blown.
I coped really well with that. That was all right with me.
You got
like bright red face, literally couldn't breathe after 5 minutes.
Yeah, that dry mouth feeling is horrible, isn't it, in the first game?
Yeah.
How much does it really matter, though? In the results. Do you think pre-season? I remember Shrewsbury when did we win like 9 pre-season games or something like that? We won 9 pre-season games, and it came to the first game of the season, and we drew or something. Like, does it matter? What emphasis are you putting on results, Gav, at the moment?
Not a lot, but there's always that bit in your stomach that wants to get to it. So we played Northampton the weekend just gone, and we lost 2-1. We were dominant in the game, really dominant. We had a local referee who's been brilliant for the club over the years. That probably a couple of decisions should have had a penalty. One of our lads got fouled in the middle of the pitch. All the excuses start coming out. But you know yourself, like we dominated the game, and from that, I just want my players to see that everything that we're working on, when it comes to fruition, we can get the benefits of it. So as much as I was a bit like, oh yeah, referees helped us out, and oh yeah, I was still a little bit bitter at the fact that we didn't win the game because we were dominant, and obviously from that it gives the players a good message, doesn't it? But the reality is we come out of it and we want to get minutes in our legs, we want to stay healthy, we want to educate, and we want to be competitive. But it was a difficult day for me because although it was a brilliant day and we're getting lots of plaudits for the way we're playing football, and obviously the players are gelling and they're starting to learn, picked up a couple of injuries, which isn't ideal. And then
Gav's just had a text with one of his better players. Well, I can't say better players. One of you good players.
They're all brilliant, but yeah, I think from the weekend we've had 4 niggles. So obviously going into tomorrow's game, it leaves us depleted, but which is fine because as long as they're ready for August the 5th, because really going back to your point, as long as they're ready for August the 5th. The results are immaterial because how many pre-seasons have you played? Like what you were just saying there. When I played for Shrewsbury, I played 9 pre-season games, played in every single one. I'm like, I'm going to be in the Championship by Christmas. This is a walk in the park. Played the first game of the season at home against Rochdale. I remember going up for a header with Grant Holt, getting off the floor, pulling the mud off my face and tasting blood and thinking, yeah, we might not.
This didn't happen in pre-season.
This didn't happen against Stoke, and it's like all of a sudden that changes. So I'm not overly concerned with results because all 3 of us know that you can be brilliant in terms of results but not quite in the team and then get spanked on an opening day. And sometimes you can be, look, it's not, the results aren't there, but it's gelling. We're there, like results are immaterial, but there's always that competitiveness in your stomach.
I think as a player it feels like it matters more, the results, because the amount of times where you're at the start of pre-season and you just play in 45 minutes each, so they'll split the squad up, and then for the first half the boys go and win 2-0, and the second half you come on and you lose 2-0. All of a sudden your head's gone, and
we did our bit, lads. The first half, lads, we did ours.
Well, when we were in the Isle of Man, obviously some of the lads come off after 60 minutes, so we did quite a big change around, but it was 0-0, and Isle of Man, brilliant really, it was ideal for us because everything we've been working on, they camped in. It's really difficult to break down, but it was literally just wave after wave from us from sort of just into our half constantly. But then the lads come on with 30 minutes to go.
We're knackered.
Yeah, knackered. Win 2-0. So when we went 2-0 up, I just turned to the bench and went, how brilliant have the lads been that have come on tonight? And they're all cracking up, going like, laughing.
This looks like my starting 11.
Yeah. And that's good with these lads. You can have that sort of bit. But deep down, they'll all be thinking, is the gaffer telling the truth there?
You do that because it's the main, you do feel it all the time in pre-season in particular. You are so competitive with the other players in your position, aren't you?
Yeah, because you're fighting for it, aren't you? And you know that the team's not going to be the same, but you still, that first game of the season, you want to be in the team. Like that's the game I always remember as being most nervous for, but excited as well. The first game, it was
it's
such a big deal, wasn't it? And you were like a butterflies, but a buzz as well, and you want to be in that team first game of the season, and it's massive.
And it's hard now because the other side of it is, in order to be successful at any level, in my opinion, you need a squad. And I think I saw the interview with Eddie Howe yesterday, and he was just saying about is it Lascelles, the centre half? And he was just saying he'd been out, hadn't he? But the emphasis on, even though he'd been out, the contribution he'd made to the group behind the scenes was imperative to what they did on the pitch. You're sort of saying to the players, listen, you've got to be competitive and you've got to get your shirt. But equally, if you're not in at that time, you've got to contribute to the group, and that takes a good person, doesn't it, to be able to do. And that's a hard thing to do, but something you have to demand of your players now.
It's healthy competition, isn't it? If you've got, like, say, me and Dave are competing for the same spot, isn't it? You can still get on a little bit. As long as you're not kicking each other in training, but you want us to be like.
But you know, Sam, in those little dark corners of the car journey, you know, in the changing room and stuff like that, there's some lads that turn, don't they? And they want instead of taking responsibility, they want to start, you know, dropping in little things and becoming a bit acid in the change room. Whereas actually, I think my group are very, very aware that look, all of them will play a part at some point in the season, but they've got to fight for it, and when they're not in it, they've got to contribute to the group.
As a manager, it is key to make sure those lads who aren't starting are on track with you.
Yeah.
Because if they start to like a little bits of poise, because you see it happen all the time in football, little bits of poise in the dressing room. I'm not playing, managers shit, coaches are shit, everything's shit. How's he starting?
Yeah.
If they can kind of recruit a few more players around them who have that same mentality, then all of a sudden it just spreads.
It becomes herd mentality, and I feel it before it even starts to happen. That's one of my. So I stamp it out straight away.
Yeah.
I'll be very vocal about it.
It's really hard to do that when lads aren't playing. It's like it was a really good interview with someone who was playing for Gary Megson. They said Gary Megson, I think it was Nicky Eden. It was. He was on. I think it might be on Under the Cosh. And he's got them in, like Gary Megson is starting 11, and he's like, you're my starting 11, not them, whatever he called them, like, see you, like, this is my starting 11, like, you are the ones and all that, not them lot, you lot, like, on a Friday. And then, like, 2 weeks later, obviously, like, the team's different. He's got the other three, he's like, you are my starting 11, not them. And they're thinking, hold on a minute, they're saying the same about us.
But lads,
you've got to manage, they're the hardest ones to manage, because you've got definitely. 11 are buzzing with you because they're starting. The subs some might be all right, some might not be, depending on where they are in their careers. But them ones who aren't in your team, they're the difficult ones. They're the key, aren't they? That's
but they can't be difficult anymore, Sam. Like, they have to be on board, and it's like you're right.
But it's annoying. Like, if you're not picking me, I'm annoyed at you.
The only when you go down the pathway of where it's going to end up, if you're going to be difficult, if the manager smells for 1 second that you're going to be in those dark corners causing problems, you're gone. You're isolated. You can't win as a player. So my message to the players is, listen, stay on board. If you want to be a part of it, stay on board and just trust the manager. And I've said to my players, every single one of them was out of contract. They're my players because I didn't have to sign them. It was my decision to sign them. So I stay true to myself that if they decide to work hard, show desire, do a job and a half for the team and for the group, they'll be a part of it all season. But
ultimately, you're in a better position as a player. Regardless if you're in the team or out the team, you'll be in a better position if the team's doing well.
Yeah.
Because if you're not in the team's doing really well. It's not great, but the lads are doing well. But if they're not doing well and you're not in the team,
that's horrible.
Then all of a sudden,
it's like when he used to be injured. I remember Martin Smith telling me at Sunderland whenever he was injured, because he was injured a lot, and when he was injured, like, we're missing Smudger. He used to say, I'm a better player when I'm not playing. When I'm not in the team, all the fans love me. He said, when I'm playing, I'm getting loads of stick. And it was the same with it should be with me. I'd be warming up and they'd all be singing my name, and like, you'd play like a couple of games, not a good, get him off, get Easton off. I'd be going, hold on a minute.
I think it will be harder as well to keep people happy at lower levels. So as you start to get sort of to League One, League Two, and then down to non-league, because the contracts are so short. So if you're not playing and you know you're up at the end of the season, you're competing. Whereas if you're in the Premier League and you're on a 3 or 4 or 5 year contract, whatever it is, it's not the be all and end all if you have 6 months of not playing, because you know you'll get another chance there or somewhere else. But with no disrespect to Brackley, if you've got one of the lads who's not played all year and all of a sudden contract's up, it's going to be a lot harder for him to find a better club next season.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
I think it's funny that you mentioned about going in the sea now. A lot of clubs do that, don't they? Pre-season now, a lot of water work and stuff. I've seen quite a few clips of that. What's the idea behind that? And there's non-weight bearing stuff, or what?
I think, depending on what it is you're doing in there. If you're going in there for recovery, obviously there's this craze, isn't there, around a cold bath, which is like proven, isn't it, to be really good for you. I've got one out there. It's I was in it this morning. Like, I can't get out of it, me. I love it because it just gives you amazing, a real great feeling as well. Like, I don't know, the science behind it is one thing, but even just whether it's like, we talk a lot, don't we, about it, it's like sometimes even if it's in your head, but I think the other side of it is like, of course, like non-weight bearing, like, you know, if you're doing unopposed stuff in training, the best thing to do is to get them in the pool and get them doing that cardio stuff.
Jimmy Quinn used to were you there, Dave, when Jimmy Quinn used to we had swimming sessions, didn't we, 7 a.m, like every morning. We did it at Wrexham as well. Remember, like, Tom Kearney one time, obviously the problem is you're dealing with lads again, aren't you? So you take them swimming and you just be sensible lads. Obviously we weren't. I remember we were walking around the pool, the usual stuff, you try and push each other in. I remember, like, I've tried to throw Tom Kearney in the swimming baths at Wrexham, but he must have been like about 9 foot away from the pool, so he's just hit like the half round the side. He's got this like massive bruise on his shin. I was like, just like, don't tell the gaffer that.
Yeah, please,
like,
please.
that pushed you.
Sorry,
like,
I'm really sorry.
He was like, oh, Sam, come on, mate. He said, that's ridiculous. I went, I know, mate. I thought the pool was closed.
We did it. You remember when Gary Peters used to do it? We used to fit it. We had like about a month because he used to go through little crazes, didn't he? And we had a month where the game would finish, and then he'd have a minibus waiting outside the players'
after the
entrance
game?
straight after the game. Take us to Shrewsbury Swimming Baths, and we'd be in there.
With all the families.
On the blooms.
No, but there's that back room,
like
isn't
that.
there? Like not in the main bit.
Yeah.
And he took us in there about four home games on the trot, and he'd be like, "Oh, I've got to get on the minibus and go in the pool now." So he'd have to do this recovery in the pool, and then he was like, "Yeah, we've drawn 3 and lost 1. We're not doing that anymore."
thank
Yeah, he
goodness
used to
for
go
that.
through it crazy. I always felt like Gary Peters was a week behind everything. We'd play a footballing team. And then the next week we just all football on the training field. I'd be like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And then we'd play someone like Torquay.
Yeah, beat up.
Yeah, and he'd be like, you get smashed a bit, go, right, we're going back to front. Yeah, we're going back to front. So stick it in the corners, and you'd be like, oh God.
What about settling to a new team then, Dave? So when you went to Wolves, obviously pre-season's a key time for a player, isn't it? Because you've got to settle in, you've got to prove yourself, you've got to show you're a good lad, you've got to impress the gaffer. You want to try and make friends, don't you? It's a lot, isn't it, pre-season for that? How did you cope with that when you went to Wolves?
It only happened twice to me in my career. So it was when I went to Luton, that was a pre-season. When I went to Wolves, that was a January. So that's completely different.
Yeah, right.
And then when I went to that Reading wasn't. That was in the season as well. So only once really when I went to Luton.
Tell us how you felt going to Luton. I'm nervous first.
That was nervous because that's the first time I changed clubs as well. So Shrewsbury is everything I'd ever known, and you that's never too bad because you come through an age group on the 16s knowing players, and then you go with them into the youth team, and then by the time you get into the first team you already know players. So going to Luton, first time moving away from home, that was difficult. Just nerves more than anything, just walking into that dressing room not knowing anyone,
and everybody's got their little mates.
Exactly, and even a lot of new signings, because I was more of a younger one, they'll kind of know players from playing against them or whatever, whereas I literally didn't know anyone. Went and sat
in the corner by yourself.
I did, and kind of you don't know who to ask for kit and all those sorts of things. It's a little bit awkward. As you get older, I imagine that experience is a lot easier, but at 21 years old, that was daunting. And we went straight to a university down in Hertfordshire at the time, just to do testing. And I've always been fit as anything with the running.
Yeah.
And straight away, that was kind of my thing. Right, I'm going to proper impress. But I had all the old lads, as you do, just on me straight away. What are you doing, you busy little prick? But you've got to do it.
Definitely be me and Gav saying that.
100%.
But you've got to do it. But yeah, I was my sole focus was to try and find some friends around my sort of age, and then try and get close to them because I'm moving away from home, don't know anyone. I need someone to be able to
lunch with and help
connect with and that. And I was quite lucky. After 2 or 3 days, I had a group of 2 or 3 of the lads, which I got on really well with. And then it was nice. There's one lad in particular I was really friendly with, and I got really friendly then with his mates. He was from Luton, so I got really friendly with all of his mates as well.
Yeah,
so then every day after training, I'd go back to his house. We would go for some food, play FIFA and things like that. Then I'd end up going back to the hotel or to my house when I got it, probably 8-9 o'clock at night. And that made it so much easier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's everything, because it is hard work when you're going, especially when you're young. When you're older, you're a bit more wise, aren't you? And you sort of cope with things. But I remember when you were a young lad, I remember when I went to Chester, and that was only on loan. And they would just throw your kit down there, and I just threw my kit down and stuff. And there's the lads, go knock on the gaffer's door and tell him you'd be like, or you got to go And I never did that, but you hear things about the gaffer likes flowers or something, all that stuff like that, because you don't know that as a young lad, and you're right for it. But yeah, as you get older, when I was older and went to new clubs, you did know a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think when you go and you're a young lad, it's
the worst thing is when someone comes in and they try too hard too early.
Yeah.
And they're just
You mean they come in in a vest and rosary beads?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. Sometimes you pull it off, but
I know exactly what you mean when they're trying to impress.
And it's the only way you can gain your respect is if you're a good player or if you train well.
I think if you're a really good lad, people will like you as a lad. If you're a good player and a good lad, perfect.
But that takes a lot of time though, doesn't it?
If you're a good lad and you're not a great player, the lads will sort of like you as a person.
I've just had a lad come in, and he's come in and he's trained relatively okay. Played one game. Got about 8 or 9 out of 10. Straight away, he's in.
Lads
because
like
he's done well.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
and he's going to be benefit. He's going to help them get the win.
He's going to contribute.
Help the team. So you're like,
yeah. So they're like, right, we can validate you now. But the worst one is like, and I've seen them like a couple of times, and there's like, I won't mention names, but you'll remember the lad that come to Shrewsbury, the keeper. But like, when you talk about lads like him, you just think, don't you? Like,
what,
came in, yeah. We played away at Barnet, didn't we? And like the game was delayed because the electricity had gone off or something.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he literally had been there like 2 sessions, hadn't he? And he was telling me like we were warming up for a game, and he was saying, "Yeah, I won't do his accent because I don't." But he's like going, "Yeah, the gaffer's told me I'm going to be number one next year ahead of Joe," and I'm like going, "Oh, okay," thinking, "Yeah, that ain't happening."
It's insecurity out there, isn't it?
But then he was like, he was in the middle of the changing room being a class clown. It's like, "Oh, mate, you've been here like 3 sessions, mate. Relax."
And, and I suppose if you pull it out of the bag and you play well, you can maybe get away with it. But if you're not the best and you've come across like that, you're like,
yeah.
For you, Sam, because sort of personality-wise at Shrewsbury, you'd have been, once your feet are under the table and you get to know people, you'll be quite a big character in that group, quite vocal, bit of a joker. Then when you go sign for the next team, do you go back to square one and just wait for it to play out a little bit?
Little bit. I mean, well, I went to Tranmere, didn't I, there? But I knew, like, Jason McAteer, and I knew a couple of the lads, and, like, Ryan Lloyd said a couple of lads look after me. So I was all right there, and I went for, like, a couple of drinks early doors. I know you like you say about going for a beer and that, but it does help to get you in
when
there.
I first come to Shrewsbury, you remember, like, the first thing, it was like, "Oh, we're going for a beer," and I just sort of half invited myself.
Yeah,
that was it then.
And you get in then because you're seen as a good lad, and you come in and you mix and you get around and you have a chat, and it's a good thing. I mean, when I went to Northampton and had the number 10 shirt at Northampton, didn't I? So obviously, like, a lot of them didn't really know who I was. Like, it was Sean Dyche and Eon Chestnut. I had a number 10 shirt. So I ended up, like, I started off, like, first game of pre-season, like, I'm on free kicks and that. So we played Norwich away, and I was like, I was still on free kicks, you know, like, not to shoot, like, free kicks, like, out wide, like, trying to whip the ball in. And number 10, I was thinking, like, cross between, like, Beckham and Ward-Prowse. I was thinking, how long is it going to take? I think it got to like a week.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Did you? I thought, can I just reinvent myself? Yeah, like as a Letizia or something. Yeah, with number 10
Did you start believing it? You started going,
so
I think I could do this.
I was like playing a bit of a 3, and I was thinking I'm going to be all right. Yeah, then I think like a week before the start of the season, I think they just like it come up like free kicks 4, and I was just nowhere to be seen. I thought, I've been outed. Like I realised. I thought I don't know if I can just keep that going, but. Yeah, because you can be a little bit different, can't you? And I think any mistakes that you've made, I was so much more professional when I went to sort of Tranmere in Northampton and didn't have the reputation at Shrewsbury where you were seen as a bit of a lad. So I went there, and then I was become like quite a good professional at those clubs, and was got to be known as a good professional.
And probably like those lads had expectations of themselves to be professional, so it was easy for you to slip into as opposed to go, I'm going to be a bit of a Jack the Lad. Because that was like, you know, that was some group, wasn't it? You know, when you talk about the Lowies and the Lukes of the world and Tollies of the world and all that, that's some group that are always going to go, you know, a little bit that way, aren't they?
Well, yeah, just because we're all young lads. Of course. You've got a core of lads like who are aged between 20 and 25, all playing football together, all best mates. You know, like it's like if that was on a building site, or if that's a group of them lads, they're going to be out and about, aren't they, around town? Yeah. They're going to get themselves into a mess. So yeah, that was a little spell I had on being on free kicks. Northampton, number 10 shirt.
My one was when I come back I snapped my cheekbone at Shrewsbury, and Gary Peters pulled me and he said to me, I'm going to turn you into the next Steve Whitton. Anyone who doesn't remember who's Steve Whitton, he was the winger that used to play for Ipswich, but he was like 6'4". So I was like, I knew who he was because obviously I'm from.
You played a bit, didn't you?
Yeah. So in training, what all that happened was because I couldn't make any contact because of my cheekbone, he just stuck me out on the left. Like, to this day, just get the ball at your feet, whip it in a second 6-yard box. Happy days. I thought that's a bit of me. So I was doing it, and obviously getting all this joy, unopposed.
Next you know.
Yeah, literally unopposed, no one around me. The easiest thing in the world for training. But because I'm getting all this joy, lads are going, oh, it's unbelievable, great ball, unbelievable, Gav. And I'm like going, flipping, I could do this. But then not knowing, Gary Peters has stood there because he loved his little fads, like I was saying. He's going, I think he could be the next Steve Whitton. So he pulled me and he arranged an in-house game at the training ground, played me there against the youth team, and like literally stood there for about 10 minutes thinking, I haven't done anything. I haven't moved or anything. Then I got the ball and I hit this crossfield ball, went through and scored. He just went, that'll do, finish. So I was thinking, only about 25 minutes gone. Literally the only thing I did, he pulled me in after, he went, you're going to be the next Steve Whitton. I've seen enough. So I played 60 minutes for the first team.
on the left.
Got dragged after 60 minutes. I'll be honest, that was generous. That was generous, yeah.
Get me the number 5 shirt
I was
again.
surprised
Put that number 11 shirt in the bin.
I was surprised I got through half time. But yeah, I remember I went on a bit of a run. I pushed it past the lad, and I think I'm actually going to do it, and I've hit this cross. And when you just think, it's happening. I'm gonna be a winger, and then I overhit the cross. It went out the other way, and that's probably the best I did. So, and I didn't have the cardio for it either. I was because I was so used to being a centre half. It was so different. Yeah, I couldn't come short to running behind. I couldn't run high to come short. I was just thinking to myself, this ain't me. But yeah, that's another one of Gary's fads.
I've seen to have done all positions. I remember we played Middlesbrough in the FA Cup at Wolves, and Kevin Foley was our right back. Had an unbelievable season. And he was so important that Mick wanted to look after him. So the FA Cup game, because we were sort of top of the league at that point, so I need to rest Kev. And then we didn't really have any other right backs. And then he pulled me into his office before he said, I'm thinking of playing you right back. Do you fancy it? I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll smash that.
Went down. He named the team. None of the lads knew. And named me right back. A few eyebrows been raised. And somebody's come over to me and I've started laughing and giggling with him and stuff like that. And he's like, Edo, get over here. Came over and says, you laughing about playing right back? And I was like, no, they were just saying, he says, if you don't want to play, don't play. And then he started to lose his head at me straight away. Like, no, it wasn't about that. It's something else. So I ended up playing there and enjoyed it. But yeah, I've done every. I remember at Shrewsbury, I think it was my last season there when I was first there. I think Andy Cook or someone got injured in training, maybe on the Thursday before the start of the season. And Gary Peters put me up front for the first 2 games of the season.
Number 9 on your back.
Yeah, number 9. But then I scored first game. I think we drew to Mansfield 2-2 or something.
I remember that game.
Yeah. So I played up front in that game as well. I enjoyed it, but the fitness up front, I was absolutely blown because you're just sprinting in behind all the time. Compared to like in midfield, it's more up and down. And
GP as well, when you got tell me to smash it in the corners.
That is the hardest position on the pitch that I think is centre forward, isn't it?
In terms of your outcome. It's hard to score goals, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what you're getting judged on. You can't you can't do okay if you either score or you don't score, isn't it? I think
you've got to offer something incredible, haven't you, in order to be seen in a good light. If you haven't scored for 10 games, I remember I played with Louis Moult, a good friend of mine. I think he's just gone to Dundee from Motherwell, but Moult was at Wrexham, went on done really well at Preston. But we played with him, and he came to us. I think he came on loan from Northampton. And he didn't score for 10 games. Literally, could not score. But the contribution he made to the team was he would hassle, harry, chase, everything he did. He was amazing for us. And then when he did score, I think it was on the 10th game, when he did score, we all went, put him on our shoulders, paraded him around.
Yeah. Peter Crouch when he didn't score for them games.
Oh, he was, honestly, but then after that, he just hit the ground running. But you've got to be incredible, haven't you? If you're not scoring as a striker,
you've got to be assisting.
Massive, yeah. You've got to be a big contribution to the team, haven't you?
To stay in the team, yeah. To go, as you said, 6, 7, 8 games.
Yeah. Just in terms of future guests then, lads, so we've got Ryan Barnett coming on, haven't we?
Yeah, Barney's agreed.
That would be really good to see about Wrexham. A bit jealous of Wrexham, aren't we, with all the money and the exposure they've got.
So we know Barney I know him quite well from at Shrewsbury. You've coached him at Telford.
Yeah.
And then come through the ranks at Shrewsbury.
Then he had to drop down a few leagues to Solihull. And then he's coming back through and flying at Wrexham.
It'd be good to find out what it's been like at Wrexham for him on that journey, though, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But also how he coped with obviously getting let go by Shrewsbury, and then having to drop down a few leagues, and what his perception of all that was at the time.
And even then, before he signed for Solihull, he actually went in at Gloucester, who were in the Conference North, for a month just to train through the pandemic.
And didn't get off.
So even then, he was like, well, he wasn't getting offered. He was just there training, playing, and I think they wanted to commit to him, but he was in 2 minds, and then. Fortunately, the Solihull thing came up.
It's good. It's good stories like that because we're talking just before the podcast, weren't we, about our boys and all these young lads who get released from clubs and how you think it can feel like the end of the road, can't it? You get released from a football club. And I think we have a lot of listeners. So we have some young lads, but we have a lot of dads who've got kids in grassroots football and academy football and shadow squads and things. Realise that, getting released is part of the journey, isn't it? Everybody gets released or everybody gets dropped or everybody gets setbacks.
It's a shame. A lot of lads, that'll be the end of the road. And they'll lose interest themselves then.
Lose motivation. But, hopefully I think Barney's story will be really good. We're going to get Drew Broughton on as well. We're going down to see him. He's the Fear coach. So you can follow him on Instagram before the podcast, any listeners. He's a really good one to listen to.
You want to get motivated.
He talks about healthy disrespect and things like that and fear and courage in football. He's quite intense quite an intense character, but he's good. I'd be a really good listen. So follow him on Instagram. Jody Craddock, fascinating person as well, isn't he? Come out of football, become an artist now. Really intelligent, interesting man. Were you with him at Wolves, weren't you, Dave? Sunderland, I was with him. Played in that famous playoff final against Charlton, 4-4. Lost on penalties. Played. Mendonca scored 3 or 4, didn't he? Jody marked him.
We'll bring that up.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring that up. And we've got Jack Price as well coming on. Saw him last night. Really good, interesting story about him as well. Life in Colorado Rapids and decision to leave football, leave England at a young age and go somewhere like that. Whether or not, we had them discussions about, Ruben Neves going out to play them, would you do it? Interesting to get Jack Price's take.
He's a great lad, him, Jack, isn't he?
Yeah,
great
lad.
Said
he's a top player, isn't he?
Oh, brilliant. So underrated. Proper player.
We want to get him in Shrewsbury Town, don't we? Centre mid.
They'll do well.
That'd be a massive coup.
Do well to get him, yeah.
Could that happen? That's a massive coup if they get him.
Well, he's injured at the moment, isn't he, Jack?
He's injured.
But
he's more top end Championship, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Championship player.
Look, lad, doesn't he? Love Shrewsbury.
Yeah. Oh, flipping it. That would be signing of the century.
If Shrewsbury sign him, we'll take a little.
Yeah, little
cut.
It's
going to have to be 15% because there's 3 of us, still 5% each.
He'd be all right with that, wouldn't he?
5% of his wages, and then he
listens, doesn't he, Jack? Jack, just to let you know, that's done deal, mate.
5% for Gav, 5 for Dave, 5 for Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Easy.
Job done.
I'm worried about you going up to Lowy and taking all that percentage and getting
me and Ryan will do something like
that.
Yeah. As well, we're going to try and have a bit of a go with YouTube now. My mate Steve, who does Steve the Transit Camper, is all over YouTube, and he's
promoting people now.
A little bit, but he's going to help us hopefully because we're not getting enough subscribers on YouTube. So he was saying some ideas about what you need to do, what you need to put into search engines and stuff. So we're going to try and get our YouTube channel going a bit.
Happy days.
So it should be. I mean,
visually,
us three, visually,
we're a good watch, aren't we?
We're better. We look better than what we sound. I can't believe we're not getting more viewers, considering how many listeners we get.
That's when the groupies will come. If we start doing more YouTube stuff,
and we
be careful.
I've got a lot we play at the moment. I don't need to be getting hassled from female fans.
Come here with a stick.
Yeah,
we did get the balls out, didn't we, last year, which is a really good crack with a few Shrewsbury players where we did a little bit of a training session with them, and we'll do some more stuff like that. I'm desperate to get you boys on the golf course.
Me and Gav don't play golf, but we'll make the best.
I'll volley it down a fairway.
Yeah.
Probably still stick it in a rough.
Well, we'll definitely do that. What are you thinking? You and who against me and Gav?
Something like
we've got
us three versus
Budging have invited us to that golf tournament, haven't they? So we're going to go. What's that? September.
I'm going to have to
Bridgenorth Golf Club.
I've got your clubs. Just let me drive in a putt. I'll be sound.
I'm left-handed though.
So we're going to. I
don't think it'll make a difference.
Can we go? Can we go before that tournament, that budging tournament, the Bridgenorth Golf Club?
Let's see if a few of the Shrewsbury players will come along and we'll do a little bit of a challenge.
Who's good at golf?
Harry Burgoyne's
let's avoid him then. Let's get the rubbish ones.
I play with H a little bit.
Harry was in the last video. He's quality, great lad. Let's get him in there, but let's then
he can recruit a couple of players for us, can't he?
Yeah, I'd love to see Daniel. We've got to get Daniel there. Daniel Udoh.
Me and you, Gav, need to go. We need to go to the driving range.
Yeah, I'll
a natural.
Normally, just if you put it in, what is it? The bat? If you put the bat in my hand, mate,
I'm just careful about giving it a big one because if we actually do this and record it,
this
is going to get really
if there's any Shrewsbury fans, there's Shrewsbury fans listen to this, start tagging some Shrewsbury players that you want to see on our little golf challenge.
Great shout.
Get after them so they know we're about.
Yeah. I don't know how to come in and being
my mid-range game is really good.
Thing is, we'll have a laugh.
What would you say mid-range is?
Mid-range game. Is that mid?
I don't know, but
mid-range.
Problem is, what happened is we'll get there. Me and you'll be having the laugh, Gavin joking, and Dave will get because he gets proper.
He has the glove and everything.
We'll end up falling out.
Dave gets the glove.
Yeah, Dave will walk off.
Everyone wears a glove.
Did I?
Yeah. Me and you will be having the laugh and the joke. I'm on the tee and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully it'll be fun. But if Dave starts being too serious, I'm jacking it in.
It's quite therapeutic, isn't it? I've taken a couple of my lads for golf days when my previous role.
Never played.
Well, I didn't. I was in the buggy and I had a crate of bud in the back, and I just drove around abusing.
So it was therapeutic.
Yeah.
I think that was probably that role in the golf then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really therapeutic. Yeah, and then I did a budging day as well. And I did the 9 holes, and I'll be honest, I was just a bit good at it. That was the problem. Because I was in the leaderboard, I didn't want to embarrass people, so I left it. Yeah, after 9 holes, I ducked out a little bit.
bored.
Give it a go.
Skitty was with me. Skitty was in my team, and he was smashing it.
Is he any good?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he was good.
Can he come on our team then?
He was holding up our end of the bargain, definitely. I actually think we did quite well on the day because of Skitty. I don't want to do a disservice. Maybe Kev Sandwith did well as well. Jamie Haynes was abysmal.
But
the worst ones. Jamie Haynes, right? Turns up. He's got his clubs. He's actually got clubs.
He has got really small arms.
He's got T-Rex arms. Yeah, he's got all the gear, and then he's terrible. Yeah. So I'm just like, where's the hat? Oh, I just can't. I'm like, mate,
Like, I'm not coming looking the part.
He won't be having any of it.
Pressure,
he won't have it. If you say to him what you like at golf, even now, he'll be like, oh yeah, really good. He's not. He's shocking.
Footballers, though, like obviously, have always loved golf, and we used to go away with Sunday, and we used to play on these like amazing courses. Like the lads were so serious. Like I was like Kev Phillips, and I was like, you're taking the golf more serious than you do a Premier League match. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Like what?
100%.
What we're doing, like, but should not be a bit of fun as well. Like what we're doing it for? I don't get like Dave already is like me and you were laughing about it. Dave's like Dave's getting annoyed at me and you like joking about it. He's just going to fall out.
Look at the veins in his arms.
We're going to fall out. We're going to fall out. Like, me and Gav will just go in the bar. If Dave starts being rude,
listen, we'll be in your domain, so I think we'll take it seriously.
Any listeners, if you want certain players on, start adding them, and then any golf courses listening, if you want to host us to come and do.
Well, Lillishall, Mark Sherville's, he's my mate, the golf pro there. Lillishall will host us in a heartbeat. So there's one.
The golf pro, he's the golf pro. Us three.
Yeah, I call him the doc because he makes everything better.
Us three, and then you play like it'd be a 4-ball, wouldn't be a 4-ball where you play like you take the turns on your shots.
Yeah.
So like, if me or Gav shank one, he can help us out.
Yeah.
If we can get a golf course who doesn't mind playing more than 4, then go play 3 or 4 holes, and we'll do 3 versus 3. Us 3 versus.
Yes.
And we'll have loads of subscribers and stuff on YouTube by then, so it'll be good publicity for them as well, won't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everyone's happy. Everyone wins.
We'll do a post so we can share.
Elevating others, aren't we? That's what we're all about.
Absolutely. I'm all over it.
Right, anything else? Everybody all right? Nice little good time that, isn't it? Wit said 45 minutes, we've done 47.
Nice little run for someone, that, isn't it?
What about us doing it?
Nice little run.
Yeah.
45-minute run.
What would you do? That's probably
10K that.
I was going to say that's a 5K. We're only going to do it every 2 weeks, aren't we, at the moment? That's the plan, isn't it? I think.
Well, we just want to be fair to everyone, don't we? We'd want to be fair to everyone, because if we promise that we're going to be doing every week and we're not able to do it, it's not fair, is it? So if we just say from the outset, look, we're all really busy other than Dave, and if we just get it all boxed off. I know you got the golf.
Well, if we start doing, if we're managing to start doing recordings on the golf course, probably could fit one in a week, couldn't we?
Yeah. Well, Wits did say something about how we could have headsets and stuff like that, or like little mics and stuff. But he's gone quiet since we actually called him out.
Who does it? Who does the golf? Jimmy Bullard does it.
Whatever you're doing, that's table tennis. The way you're moving your wrist.
A lot of it's in the wrists. So I'll have a chat with you after about it.
Okay, cheers.
Right, well, anyway, so thanks very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed your run or your car journey or sitting at home in your pants.
Or on your lounger on holiday.
Or on your lounger on holiday, having a little bit.
Or on the golf course.
On the golf course.
Playing on your own. AirPods in.
Love that.
And people play on their own as well. I mean, is that a bit sad?
Yeah, well.
Like Dave.
It's like going to the cinema on your own, isn't it?
That's like.
It's like go for a walk. That's what it is.
It is quite nice. I do like the idea of it.
I've gone quite a few times just on my own. AirPods, little walk for an hour.
Is there anything that you'd like to do as like a hobby? Is there anything that that appeals to you?
Well, I would probably like getting into golf. I like walking. I like going up like hills and that. You go to Lake District and go walking. I like stuff like that.
You'd love golf.
Yeah, I think I will.
Like some of the courses and that. Like now you're saying it.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're getting sucked in. We're getting sucked in.
I'm getting rigged in.
Very time consuming though.
Do we have to? Will we have to stop wearing like the trousers and that Dave wears?
I do think they're optional. I do think they're optional.
I hope not. There you go. I'm just saying. I'm going to keep like normal.
Do you wear the shoes and all that as well, Dave?
Yeah,
like the proper golf shoes.
They're like normal trainers.
Are they?
They're like normal trainers. You get like the top of it, like a visor.
Yeah. I can't. I'm a bit thin back there, so I can't. I wear the full-on cap.
He curls out everywhere like John McEnroe.
Right, come on in.
Right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Ta-da, bye.